Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. In previous video, I have shown you how to design this item layout for each of the items in the recycler view and how to fetch the data from the Firebase and show these data in the recycler view. So if you have not watched that video, then just go to description. There I put the link from my previous video. In this video, I'm going to show you how to perform a click operation on this. Here you can see that this is a name. This is the app where I have actually implemented this part. So when I click on this, this will open a new activity like this. So I'm going to show you how to actually move from one activity to another when we click on a particular user, and also the name and the photo over here, and how to implement this back button. So if I click on this one here, you can see this, the image is also visible over here, and the name is also visible over here. And I'm going to show you how to design this and how to pass the data and how to make these functional. Okay, so let's start with this. So I'm going to close this and move back to the app on which we are working. We are working on BD chat. So if I open this, and it will load the data, and here you can see this, we have only two data. If I click on this, nothing happens for now. Okay, so I'm going to close this and let's start the designing part of that. So first we have to actually add one activity. So just minimize these all the stuff, right click on this, click on new, select activity and select one empty activity and change the name to chat detail activity. You can name anything, whatever you want, and click on finish. This will create a new activity. It's showing an error because Gradle build is running. Once this one is finished, it will automatically, this red line will be resolved. And here you can see this. If I move back over here, and here you can see this, now the issue is resolved. Now move back into this one. First we are going to design the layout. This one, here you can see this. If I open this and click on this one, first I'm going to design this layout. After that I will set a click listener on the items over here and put the value into that, and then again we are going to receive the input over here on this chat detail activity. Okay, so I'm going to stop this, minimize it and click on split. After this, first thing I'm going to change this constraint layout to relative layout. Hit enter. After this I'm going to set a background in this one. So I'm going to set a background, and the background will be drawable W4. Simply write W4. Okay, so in the previous video I have already provided all the drawable files, so I hope you have put all the files into this one, and I'm using one of those. So this is W4. Okay, so now the background is set. After this we need to add a toolbar over here where we are going to actually put all of this stuff. Okay, before that I'm going to add a recycler view into this. So recycler view, and recycler, we are going to add the recycler view because there are a number of chats from the receiver and from the sender end. So we are going to show those chats over here. Okay, so the height and width for this one will be match parent and match parent, and I'm going to set the padding and margin from bottom, and margin from bottom I'm going to set 3 dp. After this I'm going to set this layout below. Layout below this one. Okay, so I'm going to leave this for now, and I'm going to set the ID for this one. So ID will be chat recycler view. After this one will be above the, we are going to set one layout over here and one layout over here. So we are going to set this above below this one and above this one. So I'm going to, okay, I'm going to remove this for now, and okay, just layout above, and I'm going to leave it for now empty. Okay, so after this I'm going to create a new linear layout for the top where we are going to actually put the back button, one image view, the name, and all of these three stuff, that is a call, video call, and other stuff. So I'm going to add a linear layout. So linear layout, and height and width will be match parent, width will be match parent, and height will be wrap content. And I'm going to set the orientation to horizontal actually. After this I'm going to set the layout align parent bottom, this one, and make this one true. And I'm going to set the ID for this one. So ID will be linear, like this. Okay, so this is a bottom text view which you are designing. Okay, so this recycler will be above this linear. Okay, now we are going to set the text inside this one, that is the edit text. So I'm going to set the edit text into this one. So edit text and make some this width and height will be wrap content and wrap content. After this, I'm going to, here you can see this, now the height for this one is changed. Edit text inside this one. After this, I'm going to set the ID for this one. So ID will be enter message. After this, I'm going to set the margin start. And I'm going to set this one 4 dp, and I'm going to set the margin left to 4 dp. After this, I'm going to set the weight to 1. Layout weight to 1, and I'm going to set a background. For that, we have to actually create one background. Just go to this drawable, right click on this, click on new, and select drawable resource file. And here we have to select this shape, and I'm going to name this one et message bg underscore et underscore message. This is a background for the message. So click on OK, and inside this shape we have to design this solid, and I'm going to set the color for this one. So Android color will be at the red color white. Just close this. After this, I'm going to set the corners to curve. So corners and radius, I'm going to set this one to 20 dp, and close this. Just save it. And when we set this in the background of this edit text, automatically it will be the white. Okay, so I'm going to set the background, that is bg underscore et message, and here you can see this one is looking nice. Okay, we are going to adjust it a little bit. EMS, we have to set this one to 10, and I'm going to set some hint. So hint will be enter your message. After this, I'm going to set input type, and this will be text person name, and I'm going to set the padding for 10 dp, and now this one is looking nice. Just close this, and now you can observe this one is looking nice. Okay, 4 dp and 4 dp, everything is good. Okay, we are going to adjust these all stuff, not to worry. After this, we need one button, and that will be the image view. That will be the send button. Okay, so I'm going to set the ID for that one. That will be, oh, not this one. The width will be, I'm going to set this one to 50 dp, and the height will be 50 dp. When I change this one, and this one will be, the height for this one needs to be changed. Okay, so I'm going to set this first. After that, we are going to adjust that one. I'm going to set the ID for this one, that will be the send. After this, I'm going to set the margin start. So I'm going to type this one, margin start, and this will be a 4 dp. I'm going to set margin left. So if I type left, it will automatically show me the margin left. So it will be 4 dp. After this, I'm going to set the margin end. So I'm going to type end, and this will be 4 dp. And make some space, and I'm going to set right margin from right. So margin right, again I'm going to set this one 4 dp from all sides. Finally, I'm going to set the source compact. So source, like this one, we have to write app colon src compact, and is equal to, and I'm going to set this one to @ drawable, and I'm going to set this one to send button, which we have already added a drawable file for that. So I'm going to type send. Yeah, automatically we find this and hit enter, and here you can see this. And I'm going to set this weight for this one will be, layout weight will be 0. Okay, so we have to adjust this a little bit. So we'll move back over here and the height will be match parent. I'm going to change this one to match parent. And here we go. This one is looking nice. Need to adjust this a little bit more. Text. Actually just change this one to wrap content, and we have actually set this padding bottom. Just remove this bottom and just make some space. Yeah, here you can see this. Now this one is looking nice. Okay, we have set padding from the bottom, but we want to set from all sides the 10 dp. Now this one is looking better. Now our send button is ready. After this, I'm going to create one toolbar on the top. So I'm going to get out of this linear layout, and here I'm going to add a toolbar. So toolbar, and the height will be wrap content and width will be match parent, like this one. And I'm going to set the ID for this one. So ID will be toolbar. Make some space. After this, I'm going to set the background for this one. So background is equal to, and we have to put this question mark attr slash action color primary. We are going to set this one to color primary, this one. And here you can see this. Now this one is looking nice, but one issue is still remaining, that this recycler view is over this toolbar. So how to move this one below? So here we have set the toolbar ID, that is toolbar. So I'm going to set this one below toolbar. When I type this, now it automatically, here you can see this. Now this toolbar comes below this. Sorry, the recycler view come below this toolbar, and this is adjusted like this one, above this one and below this one. So now the task for the recycler view is done. Now move back over here. Now the background color is set, and after this I'm going to set the min height. So min height will be question mark attr slash, and I'm going to set this one to action bar size, and I'm going to set the theme, this one, to question mark attr, that is attribute action bar theme. Select this one and just close like this. Inside this one, I'm going to put a constraint layout. So I'm going to put a constraint layout like this one, and I'm going to set the width and height to match parent and match parent, and just close this. After this, we are going to put some image view and the edit text and the circular image view, which we are going to use. So first I'm going to use one image view, that is the back button, in which we are going to put the back button. So image button, not image button, image view, and the width and height will be wrap content and wrap content. I'm going to set the ID. So ID will be back arrow. After this, I'm going to set the constraint to bottom, like this one, bottom off, and I'm going to set this one to parent. After this, I'm going to set, first I'm going to set the source compact, so that we can see the image. App colon src compact is equal to @ drawable, and I'm going to set the image left arrow white. Select this, and here you can see this. Now this arrow is over here. I have also added a black arrow. If you change the color for this toolbar, then you can use that arrow. Okay, so now this one is done. After this, I'm going to add a constraint to start off, constraint end, not end, constraint change this one to start off, and just select this one to parent. And after this, I'm going to set to top off to top off, and select this one, and I'm going to select the parent, and I'm going to set the constraint bias. So bias constraint vertical bias, I'm going to set this one to 0.476, like this one. Now the design for this one is done. Now we have to just close this, and we also have set the ID. After this, I'm going to add one image view, in which we are going to show the image. That's the circular image view. So we have to simply type circular image view, and inside this one, the height and width will be 45 dp and 45 dp. like this. Just close this. After this, I'm going to set the ID for this one. So ID will be profile pic or profile image. After this, I'm going to set the margin from start. Type start, layout margin start. I'm going to set this one to 5 dp. Margin end or left first, I'm going to set this one to 5 dp. After this, I'm going to set the padding from all sides. So padding, and I'm going to set this one to 5 dp. I'm going to set the image, that will be the default image. So drawable, aviator, and I'm going to use this one 3. And here you can see this. Now the image is over here. But the issue is it's over the back button. So we have to align it properly. So click on this one and it's over here. Okay. So first I'm going to set the civic border color. So CIV border color, it will be hash FF and 6 times 0, like this one. After this, I'm going to set the border color width. Border width, it will be 2 dp. After this, I'm going to align it or constrain it to bottom of, constrain bottom to bottom of parent. After this, start to end of, constrain start to end of, that will be the ID back arrow, like this one. And here you can see this. With the name, you can understand what exactly is going on over here. Layout, this is the layout, that is the circular image view. Constrain start. So from this layout constraint, that is the left point, the start point, we have to constrain this to end off. And we have to give the ID. So this is the back button. The end of this one will be where we want to constrain it. If I zoom it inside this one, and here you can see this one is constrained with the end of this back arrow. Okay, so this one is working fine. After this, we have to constrain this to top of, constrain top to top of, and I'm going to constrain this one to parent. Okay, so now the constraint and the part for this one is done. Next thing, we have to add one image view, so the text view, in which we are going to actually show the name. So text view, and the height and width will be wrap content. And wrap content, I'm going to set the ID for this one, that will be the username, like this. After this, I'm going to set some margin. So margin start, that will be of 5 dp, and margin end will be of 5 dp. After this, I'm going to put some text into this one. So text will be user name. You observe that it's over this one, so we are going to align it. Okay, so before we align, I'm going to set the text size, that will be of 18 sp. I'm going to set the text style will be bold, and finally I'm going to constrain this one. So constrain to bottom, constrain bottom to bottom of parent. After this, I'm going to constrain to end of, constrain start to end of, that will be the profile. So ID, that will be profile image, like this one. And here you can see this is after this. Okay, after this, we have to constrain this to top of, constrain top to top of parent. And here you can see this, now it's in the center. So now the task for this one is done. And we also have set the ID for this text view, like this one. After this, we have to add 3 stuff over here. One is for menu, one is for audio call, and one is for video call. So I'm going to add those stuff over here. So that will be the image view. So I'm going to just make some space over here and put image view, not this one. Height and width will be wrap content and wrap content. After this, I'm going to set the ID, and the ID will be image view. I'm going to set this one 4. Okay, not like this. @ID image view 4. After this, I'm going to set the margin. So margin end will be 15 dp, and margin right, simply type right, and it will be of 15 dp. After this, I'm going to set the constraint to bottom of, so it's bottom to bottom of parent. After this, we have to constrain this one to start off, end to start off, and I'm going to set this one to ID of image view. Okay, it will be go in the reverse format like this one from the right first. Okay, so wait for a minute, we have to actually delete this one and just put a slash over here. Just close this, and we are going to add one image view for the right one first. Okay, so I'm going to add one image view, so image view, and this will be wrap content and wrap content. After this, I'm going to set the ID for this one, that will be image view 6. After this, I'm going to set the margin end, so margin end will be 15 dp. Margin right, it will be also 15 dp. After this, I'm going to set this one to constrain bottom, so I'm going to simply write to bottom, and I'm going to set this one parent. Finally, I'm going to set this to end of parent, and we are going to set this to top to top of parent, and I'm going to set the image inside this one, so app colon, just make some space, app colon, and here we have to write src compact, and here I'm going to set the image that is of drawable, and this is a menu, so I'm going to simply type, not this one, drawable menu. Okay, so if I make some space, at the rate drawable slash menu, select this one, and here you can see this, now we have this dot over here. So now close this. Above this one, I'm going to add one more image view, that will be of video call. So image view, and height and width will be wrap content and wrap content, and the ID for this one will be ID, and ID for this one will be image view, and I'm going to name this one 5. And margin end, so layout margin end will be 15 dp, and margin right, and this will be of 15 dp as well. After this, I'm going to set this one to bottom of, constrain bottom to bottom of parent. After this, I'm going to set this one to start of and to start of ID, that will be of image view 6. This is the image view 6 on the right side. Here you can see this, the ID for this one is image view 6, and margin end, so the image over here, the margin end, not like this, just change it. Okay, so margin end of this one will be connected to the margin start of this one, start of this image, which will be on the left side. Okay, so after this, we have to set or constrain this to top of, constrain top to top of parent. After this, I'm going to set the image, so that will be app colon src compact, that will be at the rate drawable, and it will be video call. So I'm going to simply type video call, and here we find this, and just close this, and here you can see this is on the right position. Above this one, we have to constrain this to end of image view 5, so image view 5, and I'm going to set the image inside this one, so app colon src compact is equal to at the rate drawable, and this will be call. So if I type simply call, and here you can see this, now we have this call, but it's a little bit on the below, so we have to set this one, constrain this one to top of. If I type this top of, and we have to simply type parent, and this will be constrained to the top. Here you can see this, now our design is ready. Okay, so now the task for this activity chat detail is done. If I move back, yeah, this one is done. Let me just close this and reopen it. Okay, it's showing an error, so where it is, let me just check it. Just click on this one, Tag started is not closed. Okay, so here we haven't closed this image view, just put a slash over here and the task, the error is resolved. Okay, so we have missed the closing button over here in the send button. So we have closed this now. After this, the designing part for this one is done. Next thing what I want is when I click on this one, let me just open our BD chat on which we are working. So click on this. And here now the activity is added to our project, and what I want is when I click on this, we want to move to a new activity. First task is this. For that we have to move to the users adapter. If I go into this one, double click on this, and inside the user adapter we have to move to the on bind view holder. On bind view holder, here you can see this. Here we actually perform the operation of binding the, actually put the data into the recyclable into the each items. Okay, so here with the help of this holder, I'm going to access holder dot item view dot set on click listener. On particular item view, we are going to set a click listener, set on click listener, and set this one new view on click listener. Automatically the method is overridden. So what we are going to do is inside this one, these all are one item, unique item. So I'm going to set a item view click listener, in particular click listener. Okay, so at whenever this one is clicked, we want to move to the new activity. Okay, so for that I'm going to create a new intent is equal to, and this will be new intent, and inside this one we have to pass the context. So I'm going to pass the context, and from where we, from this context to move to, we have to move to the chat detail activity. So we have to type that chat detail activity dot class, and we have to simply start the activity. So context dot start activity, and we have to pass the intent. Now let's check this. Restart the application, and for now if I click on this, nothing happens. So Gradle build is running, and within few seconds installation will be in progress, and installation is done, and it will open our project or app. So now when I click on this, the new activity is open. Inside this one you can see an extra, this toolbar which we don't want. So I'm going to hide this one, and we also need to put some content, that is the username, the data, and the image over here, and we have to activate this back button. Okay, so we are going to perform those operations. So just to minimize this, first I'm going to add the data into this one, this intent. So intent dot put extra, and here we have to give the ID for this one. So it will be user ID, and users dot get user ID. First we need the ID, we have put the ID. Intent dot put extra, and the second one will be the profile pic, and this will be users dot get profile pic. If you are getting confused that from where I'm using this get user ID and these stuff, so if I move back to this one where we have created this users, we just click on this, and here you can see this, we have created the users, and inside if I move to the model of users, double click on this, and here we have set the getter and setter. So for get profile pic, set profile pic, get username, we have already these getter and setter. With the help of these getter and setters, we are going to extract the fetch the value, and we are going to put those value over here. So this, make sure you name the same, okay, because with the help of these name we are going to fetch the data from the intent. So profile pic, okay, so we have set the profile pic, and after this I'm going to just pass intent dot put extra, and here we are going to put the username, and this will be users dot get user name. Now we have passed all of this stuff, whatever it's required. So now the task over here inside the user adapter is done. Next thing where we have to move to the chat activity. So just open the Java class file for chat detail activity dot class dot Java. Inside this one, first we have to create a activity chat detail binding. So make some space and type activity chat detail binding, and this will be the binding. After this we have to perform the operation, we have to change this one, so we need to just delete this, and we have to simply type binding is equal to activity chat detail binding dot inflate, and we have to pass get layout inflator inside this one, and finally set context view. Inside this one we have to pass binding dot get root. After this, now this binding task is done. First thing I want to hide that toolbar, the extra toolbar, which is by default. So get support action bar and dot, we have to perform the hide operation. Now restart the application and let's check if that extra toolbar is hidden or not. So the start of the application and click on this, and here you can see this. Now the extra toolbar is hidden. Okay, so now we have to start. First we have to extract the username, image and other stuff from the intent, and then we have to set it over here. So just close this and remove this. Okay, so first we need to create two variables of Firebase database. So Firebase database, and this will be database, and after this we have to create one variable of Firebase auth, and that will be auth. We have to initialize these. So make some space over here, and this will be the database is equal to Firebase database dot get instance, and we have to initialize this one. Auth is equal to Firebase auth dot get instance, like this one. After this we have to actually extract we have initialized this, we are going to use it later, but first thing we have to actually fetch the username, ID and other stuff from the intent. So I'm going to just create a final string, and this will be the sender underscore ID. I'm going to get the ID from auth dot get UID. Okay, after this I'm going to extract the string and receiver ID, and this will be, we are going to extract this from intent. So get intent dot get string extra, and we have to pass the user ID. So user underscore ID. After this we are going to create one more variable, that is for user name. So get intent dot get string extra, and inside this one we have to pass user name, like this one. After this we need the profile pic. So string profile pic is equal to get intent dot get string extra, and inside this one we have to write profile pic, like this. Make sure these name, if you have this P in capital over here in the adapter, here you can see this P is capital, then make sure you follow the same camel case over here, the same text format, the same one. Username, N is capital, I is capital, and here you can see this. If you make changes in this one, then you also need to make changes over here, otherwise it will not work. Okay, so now we got the IDs. After this we have to set this ID to binding dot username dot set text, and we have to set this text. So username, this is the username which we have set in the chat detail. If I click on this one, we move over here. Here you can see this in the text view. We have set this text view ID as user underscore name. So now move back over here. We have set the name over here. After this, I'm going to set the image. With the help of Picasso, we have added one dependency. With the help of Picasso, we can get the image. So get dot load, and we are going to pass this profile pic dot. If this profile pic is not available, if that one is empty, then we have to put a placeholder. So that is in the r.drawable.affiliator dot into, and I'm going to put this binding dot profile image. This profile image is the name of the profile. So if I click on this, and here you can see this is a profile image. Okay, so now move back over here. Now we have set the the name, and we have set the image. So now restart the application and let's check if this one is working or not. So if I click on this, and here you can see this, the name is ABCD, and image is nothing because we don't have any image inside this one. So if I click on this, now here you can see this, we have this image, and this is the app on which we are working, that is BD Chat. So for sure everything is working. Next thing here, you can observe that when I click on this back, nothing happens. We have to click the device back button. So I'm going to design or write the code for this back button. Okay, so for that what we have to do is the ID for that one will be back arrow which we have set dot set on click listener, and here we have to write new view dot on click listener. Inside this one we have to just move from this intent to the previous intents. So intent, so you have to type intent is equal to new intent, and here we have to pass from on which activity we are, so that we are in chat detail activity dot this, and we have to move to the main activity dot class. And now we have to simply start the activity. So start activity, and you have to pass the intent. So now if I restart the application, we will observe that this back button will work. So now Gradle build is running, installation is in progress, and the application restart is done. So if I click on this and move back over here, and we have the image and we have this name. When I click on this, now we move back to the main activity. If I click on this, the image is visible and the name is also visible, and we can also type inside this one. This one will not work for now because we haven't coded for that. So minimize this, and this back button is working. So that's it for this video, guys. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to design the custom layout for the send and receive. This will be on the send, and this will be on the right side of the received. Okay, so let me just show you that what we are going to develop in the next video. So I'm going to open the complete app, that is the WhatsApp. And inside this one, we had the old conversation. So if I open the Rohit, I'm going to show you how to design this layout. This one, this is for receiver, this is for sender. Okay, so just stay tuned, subscribe, and share with your friends. Thanks for watching.